Hey, I thought I'd make a video talking about how I think the synthesis and more precisely the memory nexus could be made better in my opinion. It has some great potential and as a concept I like it a lot, but it's just lacking quite a bit of quality of life and it's riddled with bugs and some mechanics that people don't really agree to. And instead of me just sitting in my hideout talking about this stuff, I'll have some footage of me just doing the memories and the nexus in the background. So in today's post where GGG is talking about how they are planning on working on the league, they have a couple memory nexus specific mentions and I'm going to talk about those and some other brainstorming stuff later as well. So they're saying that they're planning to add the ability to delete memories from your inventory list directly. This means that if you obtain one that you really don't need right now, you no longer have to plan it, run it and then delete it. And then there will be a larger radius of no monsters around the start of each memory. My biggest issue was not being able to properly remove the memories, so this upcoming change is absolutely amazing. The larger radius of monsters and spawning is also pretty nice, because you could just get one shot basically immediately. Well, not one shot, but just absolutely destroyed at the start. And sometimes you don't even see the monsters when the area is about to decay, so you don't see the monsters that are like nearby. And in the same post, they are mentioning how they are not wanting to change the distant memories, or the reward memories, spawning on top of the planned memories. And here's the quote for that. This is a tricky one because the obvious solution of not having distant memories spawn on or next to your plan both introduce something akin to sextant blocking and also means that you are getting fewer rewards near the path you actually intend to take. We feel that if we made this change, that it would both encourage blocking abuse and also reduce the rewards that players actually receive. Having said that, we know that the current situation of plans being invalidated feels bad. The solution needs more consideration. Yeah, it definitely feels bad. And when you flip this around, the reward is ruining our attempt to get rewards. So it's very counterproductive. You could say that the rewards are eating our rewards. I'm quote-unquote getting more rewards, though I'm not actually able to access the reward I want to. I totally understand the reasoning why they're not completely removing them from spawning on planned nodes, but I feel like something has to be done about it. Maybe being able to override the reward with our own memories, but as a downside it extends one use of it, or maybe completely deletes the used memory as well. This would also mean we could remove all rewards by using our own memories, but is it really a bad thing that we can remove the rewards to begin with? The spawn rate of them seems so high that it's not possible to remove all unwanted rewards while trying to build your own network of memories. And you could also make it so that you have to travel all the way next to the reward memory. So you actually have to extend uses of the memories on the chain in order to remove it to begin with. To basically requiring you to stabilize it, just like any other memory. This would mean that the memory rewards are not blocked, but they don't necessarily destroy your pathing towards the node. Especially if the memory that is used to delete the reward is not immediately deleted and just like leave like one charge of it. For example. They also talk about the rotation of the memory tiles. Many players have suggested that we allow memory fragments to be rotated. This is something we specifically considered in our first design session and intentionally did not allow. The league has been designed and balanced around the fact that memories cannot be rotated. If they could be, then everything would be trivialized. Yeah, I understand and kind of agree with them to quite the extent. However, having only 10 maximum cap of memories with 11 possible memory variations seems really bad, and you often have to go run more maps even when you have multiple memories left in your inventory just because you don't have pieces that fit your current situation. And when it comes to the cap, I think the 10 memory cap is probably well justified, as otherwise you'd be able to make really long memory chains on the run without needing to go through the memories that lead to them. There might be balancing concerns around this, specifically if more rare and rewarding memories only spawn at the edge of the Nexus. For example, the boss fights definitely seem to spawn far away from the middle instead of randomly or closer to the middle. Now, if we could rotate the pieces as much as we want, we would be able to cover all possible variations with just 4 different pieces, and I agree this would trivialize the system probably too much. However, if we are only allowed 1 rotation, the amount of different memories needed in order to cover all possible variations would be 6. You could even limit the rotation so that you can only do it towards clockwise instead of both clockwise and counterclockwise, which would then limit your options a bit more. I feel that either of the 2 options is enough to not completely trivialize the system, but make it less of a pain in comparison to what we have now. Another solution to this issue of having to deal with pieces is to allow us to actually create the pieces we want, obviously within some limitations. So when you enter a memory from a random side of 4, just like now, and we see at the bottom how many memory stabilizers we have on that instance, what about it shows us the limit, but we can choose which ones to stabilize, and thus creating our own specific tiles. This solution will probably need a rework of how the decay works, so it might not be the greatest idea. Because as of now, the decay kind of leads you towards the direction that it's not decaying, so you would fail a lot if you were to attempt going to the direction that is decaying towards you. And now that I've talked about the topics they mentioned in their post, I think I'm gonna add some other issues or things or brainstorming ideas that I've been thinking and wondering about. The first one is TP issues. So sometimes you can't open a new portal to the middle of the Nexus because you already have one created elsewhere. This is an issue because sometimes you lose access to the portal even though the instance and the portal still exist. And sometimes even if the portal doesn't exist, you still can't create a new one. It's probably just it's just a bug that needs to be fixed basically. And related to this, if you DC or crash or something like that, at the end of your memory chain, you have no checkpoint, which means that you now have to run all the way back and use a charge of everything in the way. So what I would like to see is that as long as the instance is still alive, that we could jump from the middle of the memory nexus into that alive instance. I understand the reasoning behind not allowing this. If you log out to avoid death, they might feel that you need to be punished and have to use more charges of your memories to get back. However, this is extremely punishing for DCs and instance crashes, and I think they just should eat the bullet in this one. Then another thing is memory planning improvement. So currently if you plan a memory, it cannot be overridden by a new memory, and this means that you can plan multiple memories so that they are not overridden while trying to find some few last pieces you might need. However, the new memory doesn't always override an old one. It seems that each of the memory you have has an equal chance to be chosen by the new memory, and if that specific chosen memory is planned, it simply just won't replace it. Now, after they implement the change that we are able to delete memories, this might not sound like a big issue anymore. However, if you need a high amount of memories, like 9 or 10, or something like that, 8, 9, around those numbers, for like a long route that you want to do in one go, and hope that the rewards don't fuck you up in the way, needing to constantly manually delete memories, or needing to pay attention to not stabilize them fully, might become really annoying long term. A solution to that would be that the new memory always replaces the oldest one, unless that specific one is planned, and then it would just go to the next one and the next one. Or in the other case, it would just randomly pick a memory until it can actually override. Either way, I feel like it should always override an existing memory, if there is a chance to do that. I would also like to be able to skip areas. And the idea here is that if you have a connected chain, you could jump to any point of that chain straight from the middle of the nexus. This would be good for people just going for bosses or rewards, as it saves time in the loading screens and by not needing to run the instances. It's already pretty punishing by its nature, as you won't get loot from the areas that you are not running, but it might be too strong, so we might as well just add another penalty to it, which is make the skips consume a charge of the path that you skip on your way to the node that you wanted to go in. That way, not only are you losing on loot, you are also losing the charges, so it's like running through the zones without getting loot or XP. It just removes the time from doing it. And lastly, the duration of the instances. Sometimes you have a memory splitting into 2 or 3 different directions, and you would like to access all of those within from the one charge that you used to get access to them. And sometimes when you branch into a different direction and you have a long route before you get the reward, backtracking back to the crossroads might actually take so much time that the instance is already gone. I think the duration of the instance is around like 5 minutes right now, so just by doubling it, it would make life a lot easier. Because as of right now, it's really frustrating sometimes when you have cases where you're trying to get use of that one charge because you might have already passed like 8 or something memories to get there, and you don't have the replacement to do it again or anything like that, and you really like to get the rewards down there. So what ends up happening is you might start a zone, you go back to the instance that you were in just to refresh the duration, and then you go back and then run straight to the next zone, clear it, and then repeat by coming all the way back. It just becomes really tedious, and I have had multiple occasions where I had to do that, and it's just, I don't really know why it has to be 5 minutes. Maybe they really want it so that you're using the charges every time you go for a single reward or something like that, but I think overall, for the longevity of the league and the system, it would be better if the timers were a bit longer. And I guess another thing I'm wondering about is, does the last charge of a memory inside the memory nexus actually have to be decaying? Because right now you kind of have to plan where you go, and then you have to just rush to the exit very fast and kind of trying to kill shit on the way. I can understand it maybe from the balance point of view that they do it like that, and from the need to get more connections and memories to keep it up, or maybe it's just a thematic reason, I don't know, but I feel like it would be fine if the last charge would also just be a normal charge that you don't have to worry about too much. Because right now it's really bad sometimes. I guess it's more about the issue of the decay being too random and fast at times than the zone being decaying. But I've had a couple times when I'm like 7 memory zones deep in, and then I'm in the last decaying zone, and then it just completely vanishes because of the decay being super random. So yeah, there's my thoughts and ideas for the league. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to them, and hopefully you understood what I were trying to come up with the examples. I personally feel like this has a massive amount of potential, but we're just not there right now. I really hope GGG keeps making the league better, and yeah, let me know what you think, and see you guys in the future. Bye bye.